So when Jesus was showing them where
Take two.
Jesus and Mary fled, he showed them a map on the landing of our stairs. So that's where he showed them that
And-
scene.
And then we started falling. We smelled like death. We smelled like rotten meat for almost a year, and we were dirty and we had dirt all over ourselves and we had blood, and we were falling. And then
Well, we were falling and then we're all wet with blood. We smell like rotten meat that's been ages for weeks. No one has come to clean it or anything because we're in outer darkness. And then when we look up, we start seeing mostly teenagers falling because they did not honor their father and their mother. And then we start falling even more, and then dark. And then when we touch down, immediately maggots start eating us.
and
We're in hell. We're burning. Maggots are coming from out of our eyes, our nose, our mouth, and our ears. We're just crying and crying. And I was running away because demons were getting me, and I went through a field of thorns and they scratched me. And then the next morning when I woke up, I looked at my legs and I said, I thought it was a dream. But there was really scratch marks all over my legs from the thorns.
the devils were peeling off my skin, and every time they peeled it off, it automatically grew back so they could do it forever. Because it's for eternity, right? And they tore off half of my face, and I only had my arm left. So all this part of my body was, they fed it to the devil dogs. And when they feed it to the devil dogs, we could still feel,
Even though it's a part of our body, like, say I cut off my arm and I fed it to the hellhounds and they munch on it and munch on it, I could still feel the pain, even though my arm is apart from my body. They're just munching on it and munching. You can feel them grind your bones and swallow. You can feel the acid and their digestive system burning it apart. And then my mom was just looking at us, feeling bad for us, and then she said, is Jesus with you? And then we said no, and then she said, ask Jesus to come and get you out of that place. And so we started crying on the Lord, and then we start going up. He starts taking us, and then our body parts coming back, and then we're in outer darkness again. We see mostly teenagers falling like black rain down to hell. And then we're up
in heaven.
Tell him what he says about the teenagers.
and
Oh, okay. But when they were experiencing this part of hell, they were on the landing. So John was on one side and Sally was on the other, and they were both in such pain and agony, and John was sitting there, Mom, the worms, they're in my eyes, they're in my ears, they're in my nose, and he was just, trying to take him off, and Sally, she was sitting there going, Mom, I just have my arm left. I didn't know what she, you just heard what they were doing to her, but all what I was seeing was, Mom, I just have my arm left and half my face. Mom. So I'm like, where's Jesus? Do you see Jesus? No. Start calling out to him and ask him to take you out of there. So they started both yelling.
And
he was saying, this is no place for humans. It's not
This
so
is-
much.
this
so
is
much
no
you said.
place for God's people. This is no place for anybody on earth. That's what I was saying, because it was it was hot there, and if you wanted water, you couldn't even get water. You don't even have spit in your mouth. You don't even have saliva.
did we miss dinner? And if you try to swallow your own blood, it won't do anything. It's just gonna pass by, not doing anything. Because when you swallow your blood, it's like you're not even swallowing it, so you have nothing to clear your throat up. And when you breathe, you go even through your nose. When you breathe, you're gonna feel it's gonna feel like there's thorns in your throat every time you exhale. And we in hell we saw the Judas. Since he sold Jesus, he got money, and he only cared about money. So we saw him in a cage, a huge cage, and every time there was thorns, sharp objects all over, and every time it would take turns up, down, smashing him with thorns and knives, and
Just over and over.
and it was for eternity.
And then tell me what the people who are persecuted.
The people who are persecuted, John.
The people who were persecuting Jesus was also in hell. They're burning for life because they've been burning for 2017 years. And they were just burning and burning and crying out, "Give me another chance." And the Lord would say, "No, I gave you my chance. And now your life is gone." And we felt bad because we couldn't do anything. We just had to watch them. And Satan and his minions were just laughing at them and taking turns stabbing them and torturing them even more.
There was a scroll.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There was a scroll, and it had names of people who sold their life. And we saw Taylor Swift. I looked at it. I was like, "What is this?" And I looked at it. I unscrolled it, and it said, "People who sold their life." And it's the first I looked down and up and down, and I looked at the top of the list, and I saw Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift does Illuminati, and Illuminati is like this. It's a triangle that has an eye in the middle, and in hell there's a table, and Illuminati, they have an eye like this, and it's big and it's on a table, and it's for the devil to go in and out, like his demons, in and out. But we don't know.
Like a portal?
It's a portal. And another portal was in our mom's closet. It was a Scooby-Doo poster, and it was a Scooby-Doo sticker, and it was just sitting there smiling. And when we found out, we took it down because it was the devil's portal. It was for in and out, because in the Scooby-Doo movies,
In Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the very last episode, there was like an apocalypse. There was this owl. He gave himself up to the devil to take over his body, and he became like an octopus, but he was just an owl, and he had minions like the devil, and they were in this place. It was like fire, and then there was black gold in there, and then it led to this. His soul led to this coffin, and that coffin was a key to kill him, and they had to kill him with a stick. And once Scooby-Doo did it, stabbed it, everything died, and they had to evacuate because the whole place was gonna blow.
I never seen the last video. So that was in hell. Then we were praying to Jesus to take us out of there, and he took us out of there, and we were in heaven, smelling all good. And in heaven, we all wear red robes. And Jesus had
red and white.
And Jesus told us what happens when you do tobacco, e-cigarettes, all those drink, alcohol, things like that.
And everything that contains nicotine.
What about coffee? Bad?
They didn't mention coffee.
Didn't mention coffee. Okay, just
I don't
curious.
know. But you can ask them, and they
What? Ask him?
ask them different things.
Ask them now? I mean, what do you mean ask them different things?
At the end of the video.
Oh, okay.
Because they saw they had 5 hours in heaven with Jesus, and they're limited to whatever they see. They see you say, oh, I saw John in his house, but at that same time you see all these other things, but you say, so that's what I was hearing. It was limited to the things that they were telling me, but as they tell it, new things. I hear new things that I didn't hear from the first night, because they're able to go back and tell more about the things that they saw.
Oh, so you can go back to heaven, kind of, or
no,
what? No.
They can, when they think back to the experience.
Okay.
They go, oh yeah, I also saw this. Like, for example, when they were in heaven, today was the first day that I heard them talk about seeing the ark, Noah's ark. Because they were very excited and seeing all these things,
Couldn't get everything out. But I was going to tell one thing about hell. In hell, we saw men and women. They were hanging like this, and those were the people who used their body sexually for boys and girls like that. And the demons were stabbing them in private places, cutting off, doing all those things to them. And then I heard the demon say, "How does it feel now?" and things like that. So that's one of the things we saw in hell. And then we went back to heaven, and Jesus told us the people who do tobacco, things like that, all those things. The main one was chew. You take it and you put it in your chin. Near your
And you
chin.
just like suck on it and spit out the saliva.
But Jesus told us that those people, if they don't stop, their chin's eventually gonna fall off and they're gonna die from doing that. So in our room, we saw bottles, water bottles,
in our room, in our
in
our
our aunt's
auntie's
room.
room, we saw lots of water bottles. Those Arrowhead water bottles. There were like 3/4 full of spit in lots of bottles, and all of the bottles. We even saw pop cans, and we took them and we went like that, and they felt like they were full, and we took it to our nose and we smelled it, and it was chew. It was super lots and lots, and there was even old dried up chew everywhere. And we saw it, and when I looked in the bottles, there was nicotine demon. Big, lots of arms, mainly made out of chewing cigarettes and e-cigarettes.
Ashes.
And it would, every time someone would go to the store and buy one, there would be another multiply until, and then once God's people go to heaven, when the rapture happens in the twinkling of the eye, those demons become reality, and they'd go with the people that would chew and smoke all their life, and they'd take out their weapons and they'd cut off their liver and their lungs, and they'd really hard time to breathe, like that. And those people that have holes, they'd take their spears and they'd throw their spears in the hole and make it even harder for them to breathe, so it'll go like that.
But you won't die.
And for those who chew, they'd take out their swords and cut off their jaw and say, "Keep chewing now, man." Just torment people when rapture happens.
And Jesus showed us what happens when you play Call of Duty and Minecraft. Those are the two main games. But if you play any game, the main one was Minecraft. there was a demon. It was green. It had lots of arms, and every single one of those arms were holding a soul. And Stampy Cat,
He had a lot of eyes too.
yeah, it had a lot of eyes. And every single one of those eyes kept an eye on that person.
So they wouldn't try to escape and run away or get away. But they still have a chance to renew their soul and give their life to Jesus
Even
and God. They got when the rapture happens and all God's people go to heaven, they still got time to repent of all their sins and be saved. Because in the Bible it said they got a second chance.
Only 2 chances?
They got a second chance. The first chance was here on earth before the rapture happened, and the second chance was when the rapture happened.
So the demon had many eyes, and my John saw the demon, and it was in the iPad because he had downloaded it in the iPad, and it was growing out. It was growing 2 arms out, and it was reaching out for John and Matthew, and it was about to grab it, but then he slammed it down. He slammed it closed.
And then I
Because
pushed it out and I said no. And then I told my mom, we have to delete Minecraft. We have to break Minecraft. Because they was like trying to get me and my brother's soul, because at that time me and Matthew were well known as game heads. 24/7. We wouldn't listen to our mom, and the only way that we would listen is if she let us play the game. And we were just calm and quiet playing the game. And every time we'd make a mistake, we'd like, just even one little tiny mistake on a game, their face would meet our backhands, you know? We'd just hit them and make them cry and just keep on playing. And my mom thought that it wouldn't do anything because it was just a building game.
But what it really does is when you play it,
It changes.
that demon holds your soul, and it grabs one other person from your family, or it grabbed the whole family, and it made them fight. It just played with them like they were toys, and they would argue, they would hit each other. Like you said, just one tiny mistake, like if you put a block in the wrong place, he'd throw the controller, or if he put it in the wrong place, they would just hit him, punch him. They would just be, they would stress my mom out so much that my mom thought it was a harmless game, but you gotta look behind it and see what it really is.
And what it really did was changing our behavior. Like, every time we made one tiny mistake, we'd hit each other. That's one of the main things you gotta look out for. Because before we got Minecraft, we made a little mistake. We just said, Buckus, or Son of Boy, or Sally, please don't do that again. Please, I beg you. We'd do that nicely, right, Mom? And when we got Minecraft, we'd play it, and we got really addicted to it 24/7. Even at night, we'd play and play
All night.
till 6 in the morning. When my mom got up, we'd turn it off and go pretend we were sleeping, and we'd put the controller on we'd just turn off the TV and put the controller on our shoulders and pretend to sleep. And then when she left, turn the TV back on, and we'd start playing even more. Our eyes got super to Bonnie. We'd be really sleepy and really, really sleepy. And we'd just keep on playing.
And Jesus said that these games change the behavior of both children and adults alike, and when they become addicted to the games, that demon grows a new hand and grabs onto their soul. And then it has many souls, and it's holding onto them like this.
It's the same with Minecraft. I mean, movies. Scary movies.
Son Boy, Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, I'll try and I think, I should be able to remember the Call of Duty demon now. He's one of the characters in Call of Duty, except he has a big head, lots of eyes, even under his chin, all around his head, lots of eyes, and he has a weapon, a pistol, and a knife. And if you can't see it, but you can't see him on the screen, but he can see you and your soul. And if you keep on playing it and make it your idol, he'll shoot you, and those bullets will hit your soul, and it'll come back to him, and he'll grab it and put it in it and put your soul in a satchel.
And
He'll put it in a pocket or his satchel, and he'll keep it forever until the rapture happens, and then he will come out of the screen of many screens in the whole world, and he'll just torture you, torment you, and do everything.
But he won't keep it forever. You gotta grab your soul back and give it to Jesus. Say, Jesus, I'm sorry for what I have done worshiping this Call of Duty game, and he will bring it back down and he will show you a new soul. But it's the same. He said one of them were Christmas. You know Santa Claus? He goes ho 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 like that. Behind Santa Claus, there's all Santa Claus is something that gets your attention away from Jesus. So behind him, if you really look behind him, you'll see Krampus. And Krampus is one of the demons that grab kids at night when they don't be thankful for how much our parents do to give us presents, and they don't even know how much money they spent on us, yet they still love us. Krampus, at night, Krampus goes around like Santa Claus and flies, and he grabs children and puts them in, children that aren't thankful. He puts them in every single place, and when they get to his cave in the devil at hell, he'll whip them, spank them, torture them like hell, and they'll put him on fire, and he'll just stand there laughing, ha 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 ha.
But really behind Krampus and Santa Claus, if you look really, really close, back then in Mesopotamian time, the people, they wanted gifts around winter. So they molted metal in lava until it got cherry red, aka Santa, and there'd be a long line, and they'd give up their children and put it on the molten hot cherry at that that every time that cherry red iron would cool down, they'd take hot lava and put it on that cherry metal, and they'd take their children and put them on and keep them on, and they'd burn and burn until they died, and they'd give that false god a list of what they wanted, and he would give it to them only in their imagination. So his name is Kemash, and he can turn into Santa and Krampus.
And behind Krampus, he's holding a chain, and there are kids who have chains on them, and they're just standing there, and they're waiting. But when they finally figure out where they're going, you're gonna hear a scream.
And tell them why kids cry when they see Santa.
Because
Kids can see.
Little babies, if they see a spirit, they'll start crying and crying because they don't understand. They think it's scary because they never saw that kind of thing in their life. Ever since they were born, they never saw it. And when the parents think that they're crying because they don't want to be on Santa because he's a big fat man just wearing red and white beard, hat, red
But-
clothes, but they really
The
see
babies-
the demon that's
babies-
behind both Santa and Krampus, and they see Krampus right here just looking at them, and they see Kamash right there just waiting to dig in.
Who's Kamash?
Kamash is a false god that the Mesopotamians created.
And tell them about Halloween.
Halloween
Is
is
the devil's
it's the
birthday.
devil's birthday. The devil,
it's his birthday party.
it's where the people dress up to be like demons. One Halloween, I was like Cleo, and that demon stayed with me before I rebuked it. So the demons stay with you. We saw a man who was Satan, who was actually Satan, but it didn't look like him. It was just he was red and he had horns, and we got scared of him. And then we went home, and people only go trick or treating for the candy, but they also go trick or treating for the devil. The Halloween is a perfect time. That's the devil's favorite time of the year, because it's a time for him to finally get out of his place and go into people and stay with them. But he can only be one person at a time. He can't be like Jesus. He can't go to everyone. He can't be standing right here next to Mom and right over there next to Matthew at the same time. And he sends all his demons out, all of his demons, but the people in hell are still getting tortured by them. And it's the same thing with Easter.
Oh, he's telling what we're supposed to do on Halloween.
On Halloween,
We're supposed to worship God and stay in your houses, and don't go trick or treating, and just like
and don't get candy for trick or treating.
cause that's like something like saying, like telling the devil that I can take you in anytime I want, as long as I just eat you. You know, cause it's his birthday party, and you don't eat things from strangers. Like if I just pretend like you're a stranger, John, and I just walked up to you and you gave me a candy, and I just said thanks, and the candy was open. I don't know what's in there. It's just cracked open, and you might have put a razor in there and just rebaked it. And if I would have ate that razor would have cut up my stomach and my digestive system. Later then I would have died, and no one would know, because I never told my mom I got it from a stranger. You're not a stranger. I know you.
I feel strange sometimes.
But
And
yeah, but he said for us not to do
But-
anything.
You want to know what's
Anything on it.
weird? On Christmas, you put up a Christmas tree instead of a cross. You put up those things on your doors instead of a crown. You put up Santa instead of Jesus. So the world will come up with all kinds of things. The world will come up with all kinds of things that will replace everything of Jesus. Here you go. Here's a Christmas tree for that cross. Here you go. Here's
Santa for Jesus.
Here's a thing to hang on your door instead of that crown. The world will find out everything through the devil.
And everything that they invented, like a phone, TV, PlayStation, everything is like something that the devil invented. No one invented the phone. The devil gave someone an idea to make more distractions from God, so he can be the only God, be like God, which he will never be.
You know, our pastor told us that it doesn't have to be
An idol.
an idol. It could an idol that you worship. It could be that phone.
It can be this phone, it can
could
be
be
this
that-
TV, it can be that
could be
PlayStation.
It could be anything in
It
the
can
world.
be cards. It can be your relaxing
Sports.
place.
sports. It could be sewing, beading. All those things can be a statue. But the only thing that's not a statue and that moves around and helps you, dead or alive, it's called Jesus.
So here you were in hell for a little while, outer darkness. Now you're back in heaven, but you're back in heaven. He's explaining things to you while you're in heaven. Is that what?
Yeah. You know, he was showing them what happens when you're in substances, what happens when you play games with each of those things. He showed them the demon behind it, each of them, and with each thing, substances, video games. When somebody becomes addicted, that demon grows a new hand and grabs onto their soul. So he was showing him the demons and the consequences.
And then we were in heaven,
and then he said the same thing for scary movies and action movies, like
and music
stuff that has blood and music. Every time you just keep watching it, there's demons whispering in both of your ears and whispering in front of you. You can't see them, but they can see you. Whispering, saying, watch the next one that's coming out. Keep watching it. And you're there just being scared because the actors that are playing like demons that walk on the walls, crawling and twisting their neck, they're actually real demons, but the actors don't know. I heard that It, that Stephen King It, there was a new one coming out. That is actually a demon. And every time you keep on watching, there's a hand coming out of the screen, grabbing your soul. And once he grabs it, he's going to take it in and leave a little tiny piece.
Until there's this much out.
But that's still not still not too late to repent of all your sins.
He has to let go. He can't go like this. If you try grabbing it back, you can't go. You can't grab it back, He can't hold on to your soul because you have Jesus in you. And when you have Jesus in you, you're going to grab that soul because darkness cannot beat light. So when you grab the soul, he has to move. And you have to grab it.
But you gotta repent of all your sins and say, Father, I repent of all my sins. Forgive me for all I've done wrong. And I know I done wrong. I just want you to come in my heart and use me for you.
And he will.
And if there's anything, and if I have aught against anyone here on earth, please forgive me. And he will forgive you just like that. He won't say, you did rob a bank and you killed 65 people. You put